Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Andre Luis Fernandez, and today I will be presenting on silicon carbide in electronics. We live in a world where performance, efficiency, and sustainability are more important than ever. Whether it's electric vehicles, data centers, or solar power systems, the demand for better materials is constant. One of the materials that's stepping up to meet this demand is silicon carbide or SiC. In this presentation, I'll explain what SiC is, why it's considered superior to traditional silicon in certain applications, where it's being used today, and what its future looks like in the world of electronics. But first, let's start with the basics. What is SiC? Silicon carbide is a compound made from silicon and carbon. Its chemical formula is SiC. It was first synthesized in the late 1800s by Edward Acheson, who was actually trying to make artificial diamonds. Instead, he created this incredibly hard, heat-resistant material, and it's been used in everything from abrasives to LEDs since then. But its electrical properties are what makes it stand out today. Here are some pictures of SiC. SiC is a wide bandgap semiconductor. This means it can withstand higher electrical fields before breaking down, compared to regular silicon. It also has high thermal conductivity, which means it dissipates heat more efficiently, a critical factor in modern electronics where thermal management is often a bottleneck. Lastly, it has excellent chemical and mechanical stability, which means it can survive in harsh environments where silicon might degrade. Now, why do we use SiC when silicon is already everywhere? Silicon has been the backbone of electronics for decades. It's cheap, it's easy to manufacture, and we know it inside and out. But silicon has its limits, especially in high power or high temperature environments. Let's compare a few key characteristics of SiC and silicon. First is its high breakdown voltage. This means SiC can handle electric fields about 10 times higher than silicon, enabling smaller devices to handle more power. Next is its band gap. Silicon's band gap is about 1.1 eV, while SiC has a band gap of around 3.2 eV, nearly 3 times higher. This allows for higher operating voltages and reduced leakage currents. Next is its thermal conductivity. SiC conducts heat 3 times better than silicon, which allows devices to run cooler and more reliably. Next is switching speed. SiC devices switch faster, which reduce energy losses during transitions, especially important in power electronics. So in short, more voltage, higher temperature, better efficiency. That's why SiC is becoming the material of choice for the next generation high-power devices. Now, let's talk about where this material is being used today. Here are some applications of SiC in electronics. First is EVs or electrical vehicles. EVs are one of the biggest drivers of SiC adoption. Inverters made with SiC transistors are lighter, smaller, and more efficient, which extends driving range and shortens charging times. Tesla was one of the first companies to adopt SiC in their Model 3 inverters, and now many automakers are following suit. Number 2 is renewable energy systems. Solar inverters and wind turbine converters need to convert and regulate power with as little loss as possible. SiC makes this more efficient and compact, helping to increase the output of renewable energy installations. Number 3 is power supplies and data centers. SiC devices are being used in server power supplies, enabling higher power density and better heat management. This not only saves electricity, but also reduces cooling requirements, a major cost in data centers. And lastly, industrial automation and motor drives. In factories where electric motors are everywhere, SiC devices improve control and efficiency. It can reduce energy usage and maintenance costs. Now, let's quickly revisit Tesla in 2018. They made headlines when they introduced SiC-based MOSFETs in their Model 3 inverters. These help reduce inverter weight, increase system efficiency, and cut down energy losses. The result? A more efficient drivetrain and a noticeable improvement in range. Tesla's move has since influenced the entire EV industry, with companies like STMicroelectronics and Wolfspeed ramping up SiC production to meet demand. Despite all of these benefits, SiC isn't perfect. Let's look at some of the current challenges of SiC. Number 1 challenges of SiC is the cost. SiC wafers are still significantly more expensive to produce than silicon wafers. The manufacturing process is more complex and has lower yields. Next, it's its defects. SiC crystals tend to have more defects, which affects devices' performance and reliability. Next is processing difficulty. Cutting and shaping SiC is tougher than silicon, which increases processing time and tool wear. And lastly, design complexity. Engineers are still learning the best way to design SiC-based circuits, so adoption requires expertise. With all of these challenges and limitations, we can still see growing investments in research and production. Many of these issues are improving. Now, let's look at the future of silicon carbide. The future looks bright for silicon carbide. Companies like Wolfspeed and STMicroelectronics, as I said a while ago, are building new labs specifically for SiC production. These facilities are scaling up to 200mm wafer production, which will help reduce costs and improve supply. The global SiC market is expected to grow by over 30% annually, driven by electric mobility, renewable energy, and industrial demand. Also, GaN, or gallium nitride, is another wide bandgap material making headlines. But SiC still holds the edge in high voltage application, so we'll likely see both materials play complementary roles in the electronics ecosystem. So for the conclusion, to wrap up everything that I discussed, silicon carbide is not just a new trend, it's a powerful enabler for the technologies for the future. With its high voltage, handling, heat resistance, and efficiency advantages, it's already making a difference in EVs, power grids, industrial systems, and renewable energy. As costs go down and production scales up, we'll likely see even more adoption, and possibly a major shift in how we design electronics and systems. Thank you for listening.